Good morning. Welcome to Just for Today, a time of eclectic readings, sharing of perspectives, meditation, and prayer. I'm Reverend Rafe Ellis, Senior Minister and Spiritual Leader of the newly joined centers Center for Spiritual Living Columbia and Center for Spiritual Living Greater Baltimore. Today is February. What month is it? It is February 26th. So the reading this morning comes from this little book called The 12 Steps for Everyone Who Really Wants Them. On page 32 at the bottom, it says this. Amazingly, thousands have found that all that is required to come to believe is to attend meetings, to be willing, and to keep an open mind. If those conditions are met, the rest seems to come about without the use of our will or even our conscious mind. Our unconscious is working all the time, even in our sleep. If we are willing to have our conscious blocks to belief removed, our unconscious, which for many of us is where God resides, will do the rest, and we will eventually come to believe. Many of us want to make a greater conscious effort. We try to begin to see chance events and coincidences in our life as miracles or gifts from our higher power, whatever that power may be. We may feel silly doing this at first, but we find that each time we do it, our faith is reinforced a bit until we truly come to believe. It is surprising to most of us how little practice we need before we no longer feel the slightest bit silly, and how much easier life becomes once we develop even a tiny bit of faith. One of the beautiful things for me in 12-step recovery is a belief in a power greater than ourselves of our own understanding. Even as a minister, I'm really clear that my understanding, my experience of creation, of a power greater than myself, whether I call it God, no matter what I call it, is always growing. That the more I lean into understanding, the more I realize I don't understand, which makes sense when I consider that I am trying to understand a finite being, an infinite being with a finite mind, with a finite brain, and how language gets in the way. And so it's that internal journey, that unexplainable part of me that recognizes itself. And what this is offering us is to recognize that in everybody, that every encounter we have is an encounter with an expression of creation, right? Um, some are more aware than others. Let's keep it real. Right? Some people are way more aware that they are consciousness expressing, and some of us are incredibly unaware. And I know for myself, I have been and will be both of those. All depends on what I am open to and willing to see in the moment. And to be gentle with ourselves. That, the situations of life we get fooled sometimes. We get stuck in the conditions, we get stuck in the situations, and forget that there's even a higher power, much less one of our understanding. And so this offers us just a reminder, a gentle reminder that there's something greater than me. There is a whole, and that we are all the sum of the parts of the whole. That's how I see it. That's how I experience it. Um, that's how I understand it today. And at 10:07 Eastern Time, and by 10:30 Eastern Time, I may have a completely different understanding. Um, and I think that's okay. Will we let it be okay that our understanding is fluid? So that's what's alive in me this morning from that reading. Anything you want to share, you can share that in the chat. And if not, we'll go into our time of meditation. But I always want to make the space for someone to share what comes alive in them from the reading. Okay. So, not seeing anything pop up in the chat, so we'll move into our meditation. If you are new to meditation, I invite you to just be with whatever happens in the next 5 minutes. To just be with it. Um, there's nothing to judge, there's nothing to push away, there's nothing to seek. It is just a time of being present with whatever comes for 5 minutes. Meditation is a practice. So we're going to practice. Here we go. So in this moment, I recognize, I recognize, I know again that there is one infinite, eternal presence, omnipresence, omniscience, omnipotence, one love, one life, one peace, one power, one joy, one beauty, one being, one creation. That this one is expressing itself in individualized, never again to be repeated expressions of itself. Each one a divine idea, a divine smile, the imagination of this infinite being to expand its experience of itself. And so each and every expression of life, in whatever form, is expressed, made out of this one, must contain this one. Whether we call it consciousness, whether we call it God, it is unnameable because it is beyond the limitations of a name. And so I recognize that every interaction today is an interaction with this thing itself, is an interaction with creation itself. Life interacting with life, love interacting with love. And so I claim and affirm that I am not fooled by appearances. That the activity of choice is the very activity that empowers the journey home to the self, the spiritual self, the true self, the essence of being, the substance of things not seen. So I am intentional, purposeful, as I look beyond the immediate appearance and see the infinite interacting with the infinite. I allow myself to see the miracle of every exchange, to see the preciousness of every exchange, to be mindful to show up as love, as peace, to be peaceful in order to add peace, to be loving in order to add love, to express the truth of my being in every interaction, and to see that truth in every other actor. To remember in each moment that there is no separation. There is only one. And it is interacting with itself to expand its experience of itself. And as I allow that activity to be my activity of this day, I come to a greater understanding and experience of this power greater than the individualized self, the human self. I meet and experience the divine self, and I am grown by it. I allow my belief to shift and grow, to ebb and flow. I begin by owning that whatever this is, it is beyond my brain's comprehension, and so I meet it at the level of my inner being, the essence of me that recognizes itself. And I allow that to inform my choices, to return me to sanity, to guide every action. And I recognize that in the truth of one, what I speak for myself, I speak for all of creation, the harmonious operation of one. And so I am intentional to speak in broad terms, recognizing that choice is the power instilled in creation that creates the expansion. So I choose, and I am aware of the feedback of that choice, and I choose again. This is life unfolding, and I am grateful. I am grateful for that activity of law that responds directly to my belief, even when I am unaware, responds to that belief held in the deep unconscious regions of my awareness. And that as law acts upon those beliefs and plays them out in this form, in this human realm, I become aware of what is operating in my unconscious. And as I become aware, I become empowered to choose. I become empowered to change, to realign, to add healing, to neutralize thoughts and beliefs that are out of alignment with the truth of being. And so I allow myself to be informed. I'm grateful to be informed. I invite it. I cherish it. Knowing that in the feedback, I am empowered to shift, to change, to grow. To be an individualized center of spiritual living, right where I am every moment. And I am grateful. So I live from this gratitude. I live from faith in the process, in the unfolding of life, in the perfection. And so knowing that the word spoken is the word of the infinite speaking itself into being, and that it's already done. One can only say yes to one, never in opposition with itself. And so it is done. And so this reminds me that I can let go. I can let go of the lie, of the distorted thinking that there is a separate me that has to do anything, and instead gets to follow the inner guidance to do everything. I let go of the outcome and receive all outcomes as feedback of belief that is operating. And I embrace it. as the foundation for my next prayer. I let go. I let go of everything unlike truth. I let go. Making room for more of an understanding of my higher power. I let go. Ashe. Shalom. Aho. Amin. Amen. And so it is. Namaste.